What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and things are certainly starting to heat up at Netflix after the CEO himself has gone on to defend Dave Chappelle's right to make particular jokes. And we had 3 employees of Netflix burst into a meeting in which they were not invited as a form of protest, only to get fired, and then have the entirety of the mainstream media spin the story and make it seem as though they were fired simply for tweeting about the Dave Chappelle special, which was an outright hilarious misrepresentation of the story. Hey, if you are enjoying this channel and its coverage, please do make sure you leave a like on every video. And if you haven't yet, there's a red subscribe button down below. Now, Dave Chappelle's latest stand-up special certainly has been getting some controversial legs, but this video sponsor is going to help you protect what's at the top of your legs. That's right, talking about your junk. Check this out. Huge shout out to this video's sponsor, Sheath Underwear. Now, I've been talking about them for quite some time now, but listen, Sheath makes the most comfortable pair of boxer briefs I've ever worn. Their fabric is made of moisture wicking technology. It's super soft and super comfortable. One of the most unique parts of Sheath is that they have a kind of the dual pouch, the Joey pouch, where it keeps the man parts separate. It's just really comfortable. Try out one pair. I guarantee you'll absolutely love them. I was skeptical at first too, because it felt like I was wearing the same boxers forever and ever. But fortunately, Sheath came along, sent me some pairs to try out, and I've never been more cool and comfortable. They have brand new materials like bamboo and mesh. If you head on over to sheathunderwear.com and use promo code QUARTERING20, you can save big today. Hey, give them a try. That's all I ask. Bet you'll like them. Now, The Verge comes out and writes this hilariously misrepresentative recount of the story. Netflix suspends trans employee who tweeted about Dave Chappelle's special. Internally, trans employees and allies are asking executives tough questions about the line between commentary and hate. See, if they had made fun of white people or straight men, nobody would care. That's just the reality of this. Netflix has suspended a trans employee. Actually, we're going to get the real story in a moment, who tweeted about Dave Chappelle's comedy special, The Closer, in a stand-up set. Was released on October 5th. Chappelle doubles down on his jokes about the protected classes. The next day, Netflix software engineer Tara Field tweeted about Chappelle, writing that the comedian attacks the community and the very validity of transness in the special. Now they write, "We are not offended, except, weren't you though? Isn't that why?" Oh, I'm already pre-blocked. Classic. So the tweet thread went viral quickly, spiraling into a conversation about free speech and cancel culture. Netflix then suspended Field, along with 2 other employees, for trying to attend a director-level meeting that they weren't invited to. Again, only later, after the headline and after the tweet had gained virality, did they say why they were actually suspended. They tried to force themselves into a meeting in which they were not invited to and didn't belong at. Another trans employee is quitting the company over how the special and Field's comments were handled. In a statement to The Verge, a Netflix spokesperson pushed back against the idea that Field was suspended for tweeting. It's absolutely untrue to say that we have suspended any employee for tweeting about this show, they said. Our employees are encouraged to disagree openly, and we support the rights to do so. Now, this is on the other side. I wonder what this person had to say about that special about the twerking, toddlers. The special has sparked significant controversy inside Netflix. Disclosure, Verge is producing a forthcoming show for Netflix. Well, I wonder why you haven't pulled that. Shortly after it came out, employees started asking pointed questions about whether or not trans people were included in the decision to air the special and where the company draws the line between commentary and phobia. We repeatedly provide a platform for the content that is harmful to the trans community, wrote a current employee in the Q&A document. These decisions have material impact on our business, including harm to our current employees and talent declining to work with us. What is our plan on how to go and repair the situation in particular? None of the questions seen by The Verge have asked for the special to be taken down. Except that's exactly what they're asking for. This is such a slimeball misrepresentation. It's like the director from the Dear White People show. Oh, I don't want it canceled. I just want somebody up above who doesn't allow it to air in the first place. No matter how proponents of cancel culture seem to continue to dress it up, it's absolutely still cancel culture. On October 8th, Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos responded to the questions in an internal email. It never feels good when people are hurting, especially our colleagues, he wrote. Yes, all 4 of them. You should also be aware that some talent may join third parties in asking us to remove the show in the coming days, which we are not going to do. Sarandos also said that Chappelle's last special, Sticks and Stones, is Netflix's most watched, stickiest, and most award-winning stand-up special to date. I imagine that was pretty hard to admit, doesn't it? Imagine that was pretty hard to admit. Several of you have asked where we draw the line on hate. We don't allow titles on Netflix that are designed to incite it, and we don't believe The Closer crosses that line. I recognize, however, that distinguishing between commentary and harm is hard, especially with stand-up comedy, which exists to push boundaries. Some people find the art of stand-up to be mean-spirited, but our members enjoy it, and it's an important part of our content offering. In other words, GTFO. You know, that's essentially what is being said here. Netflix has a long history with Chappelle. In 2016, the comedian signed a deal to create 3 specials for the platform. 4 years later, Netflix pulled Chappelle's show from the streaming service at the comedian's request, and then restated it in 2021 after Chappelle's beef with Comedy Central died down. While the comedian's earlier specials have drawn controversy, Chappelle's most recent has evoked a much stronger response. The Closer has drawn criticism from GLAAD, which wrote on Twitter, they wrote a tweet. In a statement to Variety, the National Black Justice Coalition said, perpetuating phobia perpetuates people raising hands. No, it doesn't. Netflix should immediately pull The Closer from its platform and directly apologize to the trans community. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. And if you want to try to find some like factual reporting on it, we can see how this is being covered by the Post Millennial, which, you know, isn't of trying to just appeal to this narrative on Netflix or on Twitter. Netflix fires 3 employees who tried to force their way into an executive meeting over Dave Chappelle's alleged phobia. That's why you get fired. Netflix fired 3 employees on Mondays that forced their way into an executive meeting where the company discussed how they should handle comedian Dave Chappelle's stand-up special that has since garnered outrage among the LGBTQ community. The exclusive meeting featured co-CEO Ted Sarandos and the company's top 500 employees. During the 2-day business review, Sarandos briefed the company on how they should be equipped to handle backlash from Chappelle's special, The Closer. Chappelle is one of the most popular stand-up comedians today, and we have a long-standing deal with him, Sarandos wrote in a memo. His last special, Sticks and Stones, although also controversial, is our most watched, stickiest, and most award-winning stand-up special to date. As with other talent, we work hard to support their creative freedom, even though this means there will always be content on Netflix that some people believe is harmful. Isn't it funny how the same people who are bending over backwards to defend things like cuties existing seem to be the same people that are demanding the removal of this because it offends their delicate sensibilities. The same people that were calling those who didn't like that other film conspiracy theorists and rightoids and all sorts of stuff like that suddenly are worried about people's feelings. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Now, Tara Field, a senior software engineer, one of the 3 employees suspended, posted a viral tweet criticizing the company. By the way, you should be able to do that. You should be able to criticize your employer. And had she been fired, had they been fired for something like this, I would have defended them. Like, you should be able to criticize your employer. Now, you can't be surprised if they decide to fire you, if you make them look bad. That happens, but it really doesn't sit right. Promoting TERF ideology, which is what we did by giving it a platform yesterday. Isn't it funny? It's always the same people who are referring to things getting a platform too, that always seem to be so pro deplatforming. I've got to say, wow, Post Millennial's got a guy that looks like a little thinner version of better hairline than me working for him. This has been a pretty hilarious story, including all of the backlash and everything going on with Chappelle. All it does is get more people to watch his show, which is exactly what he knew when he produced it in the first place. But again, Netflix suspends employee for crashing meeting, not for decrying Chappelle. Netflix benched 3 of its own employees, who include one who is trans, for blasting Dave Chappelle's new comedy special, but the network insists over how they did it. Well, I 100% believe that. I mean, if you crash a meeting you weren't involved in, and we don't know if there was some sort of altercation, if hands were thrown, we don't really know any of this stuff. So if that's what happened, then of course they deserve to be fired. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.